The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Nafdac, was established in 1993 by law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and mandated to regulate and control the manufacture, importation, exportation, distribution, advertisement, sale and use of food, drugs, cosmetics, medical devices, packaged water, chemical and detergents. These categories of products are collectively referred to as regulated products. In 2017, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye took over the reins of the agency. As a globally recognized academic and professor of pharmaceutics with vast knowledge and experience in drug manufacturing and evaluation, she immediately set out to transform the agency and quite naturally, revamping its laboratories and setting them to global standards was #1 priority.
Labs are central to whatever Nafdac is doing because we have to test all products. Unless after we have done risk categorization, which is still in the works, so to say. But we have to test all products now. We import about 70% of our products and manufacture locally about 30%. So we don't have a choice. And that being said, the labs are extremely important.
In less than 3 years, the agency has moved from a debt-ridden one with dilapidating laboratories to one of the best on the continent with global recognitions and accreditations.
When I took this job, the equipment in the lab were outdated. Some of them were not functioning. But we got our acts together. We rearranged the way we do our budgeting. We plugged the loopholes so that money will not be gushing out. We paid our debt, which was inherited. And now we are saving money. Are we there? No. We need a lot of support from the government, from international partners in terms of equipment. But through our savings, we've been able to buy many pieces of equipment. But the thing about labs is that one equipment may be about 200 million naira, one piece of equipment. So you can now see if you have to replicate such equipment in 3 or 4 of our labs. So you need equipment, you need trained staff to detect any falsified medicines, any substandard medicines, counterfeited medicines. Why is that so important? It is important because it is the medicines that we know can work that we should be importing or manufacturing. That is what Nafdac is all about, or part of what Nafdac is all about, to ensure that our drugs have the quality, they are safe, and they are efficacious. Because our mission is to protect and safeguard the health of our people.
The pharmaceutical industry is one that demands maximum credibility and safety assurance, both locally and internationally. Nafdac, as a regulatory body, prioritizes its laboratories, and their importance in safeguarding the health of the nation cannot be overemphasized.
Nigeria is huge. We are 200 million people. We have 36 states, 6 geographical zones, plus FCT making 7. You cannot have just one lab for 200 million. And also talking of difficulty of traveling from one place to the other, from shipping a sample to Lagos. It makes things easier for us. Nafdac has 7 labs spread across the country. 5 of those labs are accredited, and they have continued to be re-accredited, because it's one thing to be accredited, it's another to be re-accredited.
In Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital, Nafdac's main drug laboratory is located in the heart of the city at Yaba.
The Yaba lab is the central drug lab, but along with it is the vaccine lab. Extremely important that that lab has the capability, the capacity to ensure that we have quality medicines. And that is what the Yaba lab does.
Welcome to Nafdac Laboratory Complex, Yaba, Lagos. This complex has 2 laboratories operating from within. We have the National Control Laboratory for Vaccines and Other Biologicals, as well as the Central Drug Control Laboratory, responsible for testing the quality of medicines in Nigeria. I'm glad to show you what we have in the premises.
The laboratory is ISO-17025 accredited in 17 testing scopes for drug tests and analysis according to international standards, and results generated in this laboratory with regards to the quality of medicines can be trusted, are genuine, and are acceptable anywhere in the world.
Here we are in sample reception unit. This unit is the first port of call for all our customers. We receive different forms of samples, from the solid dosage form, the liquid dosage form. When such samples come, the sample reception unit is charged with that responsibility of ensuring that all the samples received are uniquely identified, that they are sent to the right places for analysis, and that all data with respect to samples can be traceable and that they are managed adequately. We have cameras here. We also have things to identify them too, like the barcode printer that we have here. The barcode printer gives them unique identification, and when this is done, it is pasted on each of these samples so that they can be traceable throughout their lifespan in the laboratory.
Samples of drug products are properly kept in the sample display room for retainment and quarantined if necessary. This room has gadgets such as the refrigerator and data logger, which are used to condition samples on the proper temperature in order to ensure that they are well preserved. The samples kept in this room include registration samples, compliance samples, and investigation samples, as well as controlled drug samples, which are quarantined in a highly secure sample cage. The laboratory has several units in which tests and analyses are conducted on drug samples by specialists and trained analysts who use the appropriate equipment based on standardized references and Compendia in generating test results according to international standards. The tests units involved include the Fourier Transform Infrared Spectroscopy, FTIR laboratory, where active ingredients in samples are identified. The HPLC laboratory, where analysis and quantifications are made using the high-performance liquid chromatography technique, as it is complemented by other functional units in the laboratory. The HPLC unit of the laboratory is equipped with various kinds of latest HPLC machines for different test procedures, and there are competent analysts who ensure that these machines are used adequately to analyze samples. More than 80% of samples that are received in these laboratories are analyzed using the HPLC.
HPLC is almost universal. You find it anywhere, everywhere. Let's take food, and you want to look for vitamin K, you want to look for vitamin A in that particular food. Ideally, you should have so many HPLCs. One that is dedicated to nothing but vitamin A. Another one that is dedicated to nothing but vitamin K. So that you don't need to change the parts of the equipment every time you want to test one vitamin versus the other. So that is how crucial it is for us to have so many pieces of equipment.
The Pharmaceutical Control Lab, where tests such as dissolution tests, disintegration tests, hardness tests, and friability tests are done especially on drug samples in solid dosage forms. The Pharmacology Lab, where trained analysts carry out tests on herbal samples and injectables to check for acute oral toxicity, bacteria, and toxins using lab animals. The Yaba Drug Control Lab is equipped with cutting-edge modern equipment that does not only help analysts carry out lab tests accurately, but also ensures that data integrity is secure and tamper-proof.
We have what is called LIMS. It is a software that you use to make sure that your data are well documented, kept secured, because to have an ISO 17025 lab, you have to have you have to be ISO compliant. And the ISO compliance is all about documentation, traceability of your documents, and making it difficult for anybody to get into the system in order to protect the document. So it is e-lab, it is called e-lab in that sense, that we are documenting our data digitally, and what we are trying to do is to integrate, to use the LIMS system to integrate all our labs, so that whatever we are doing in Yaba, Kaduna can see it, Agulu can see it. The same thing with Oshodi. We want to integrate that part, and also it's part of our global benchmarking. They want us to be able to see everything that is going on at the same time.
The beauty of this latest cutting-edge technology is data integrity. And what do I mean by data integrity? Every analyst has his own password. No person, I cannot just come here that I want to operate this equipment. You must have your own password. That is, you are authorized to use it. And when you use it, you enter through a password. And that password is only known to you alone. And not only that, any activity you carry out, if you log in at 2 o'clock, it will be recorded that you log in at 2 o'clock. If you finish your work at 6 p.m., the equipment automatically records it that you finish at 6 p.m. And every work you have done within that time frame is permanently saved. Nobody can edit, nobody can remove anything from it. So our data is so sure, and we back this thing up. Every 2 weeks, we migrate the data and back it up. So in case there is any need to go back to a data of 2 years ago, we can do it. You can recall it easily just by mere press of some buttons.
Nafdac, as a regulatory agency, is fully aware of the importance as well as the high demand for vaccines in Nigeria, Africa, and across the world for the purpose of immunity against diseases. Hence, the need to ensure that vaccines that are imported and produced are of the best quality.
The latest of our accredited labs is the vaccine lab. For the vaccines lab, we just got accredited last year. Extremely important, because of the so many vaccines and biologicals that we have, that are, that we import. We import our vaccines and our biologicals. Extremely important to ensure that those medicines also have quality. And part of what we are doing is to get to a level, a ranking, that we allow Nigeria to be able to manufacture their own vaccines. So we will manufacture and then we test in the lab.
The National Control Laboratory for Vaccines and Other Biologicals is presently the only vaccine laboratory in West Africa. The laboratory is situated in Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria. The laboratory exists to carry out quality control analysis on vaccines and other biologicals with parameters such as physical, chemical, microbiological and virus titration and potency analysis on bacteria and other biologicals. There are 5 major units that form the Nafdac Vaccine Laboratory, Yaba. These units are as follows. The In Vivo Laboratory. This is where safety and potency tests are carried out on bacteria vaccines using chromogenic lal, JEC-log, in vivo, and leather challenge methods. Animals such as albino mice and rabbits, which are similar in genetic makeup as humans, are used to carry out these analyses. Equipment used in the in vivo laboratory include the Lonza chromogenic lal machine, the heat and block machine, the vortex mixer, the safety cabinet, and so on. The chemistry laboratory. This is where physical chemical analyses are carried out on vaccine products and biologicals with parameters which include aggravant testing, stabilant testing, antimicrobial preservative testing, protein content testing, cold chain monitoring, and chemical assays. The Tissue Culture Laboratory. This unit is known as the heartbeat of the National Laboratory for Vaccines and Other Biologicals. The tissue culture laboratory is unique with efficient test gadgets and instruments such as cell bank, the ultra-low freezer, the Class 2 microbiological safety cabinet, the inverted microscope, the COT water jacket incubator, the water bath, the hot box oven, double water distiller, the pH meter, the orbital shaker, the laminal flow, the vortex mixer, the multi-channel and the single-channel pipettes. The tissue culture laboratory is made up of different compartments, namely the production room, where activities such as cell splitting and cell counting are done, the media room, the virus titration room, where potency experiments are carried out using cell lines, and lastly, the serology room, where ELISA method of analysis is done. This unit is designed for carrying out quality post-marketing evaluation on rapid diagnostic test kits that come to Nafdac for the purpose of compliance or registration using internationally accepted standards. These test kits are medical instruments used in hospitals or in medical community services for preliminary or emergency testing of diseases like HIV, malaria, typhoid, blood pressure, hepatitis, or cancer. They come in forms like laminal flow immunoacids, dipsticks, cassettes, cards, monitors, and so on. The specificity and sensitivity analysis done on these samples are essentially to ensure the manufacturer's claims on these products are genuine and meet global standards. Also among the units that make up the vaccine laboratory, Yaba, is the microbiology laboratory. This section of the laboratory is where microbiological quality control analysis such as sterility tests, microbial limit tests, and BCG identification tests are done on vaccines and microbiologicals using microbiological media that are of integrity. Specialized equipment like incubators and other gadgets dedicated for this purpose are used in this unit for efficient quality control analysis. Another laboratory that the agency operates in Lagos, Nigeria, is the Nafdac Central Control Laboratory, Oshodi.
The Oshodi lab is extremely important because Nafdac is food and drug, and with that comes also equipment. So that is the Oshodi lab. It is for food and for testing micronutrients, for testing mold, mycotoxins in our food. Some of our food develop mold unknowingly to the layman, and we eat it and we develop all sorts of health problems. So the Oshodi lab does, or identifies whether a particular food has mycotoxin, aflatoxin, or whatever, which belongs to the mold family. Very important. The Oshodi lab is also a lab that is dedicated to test chemicals that can be used as weapons. So it is multi-purpose lab. That is the Oshodi lab.
This is mycotoxin lab, one of the 13 specialized laboratories in Nafdac Central Lab, Oshodi. Mycotoxin lab has skilled personnel, experienced and skilled and trained personnel who carry out the analysis. They have different types of equipment that help them to carry out the test. This is HPLC. This one is a thermoscientific, the Ultimate 3000 HPLC, while this one is the Lachrome. This is the ELISA reader. It is for qualitative analysis of the extracted sample. This is pesticide residue lab. This is the centrifuge. This is the mixer, the vortex. This is the instrument room of pesticide residue lab. The instrument we use here is the GCMS with headspace. These are the vials where the sample is injected, and this is the auto sampler. We also have the instrument, we have the GCMS, we have the GCMS with FPD and ECD. These are the instruments that we use to analyze pesticide residues in food.
The metal lab where food samples are analyzed to determine the presence of metals as well as their concentration in food samples.
This is metal lab. This is the atomic absorption spectrophotometer. You can see the auto sampler. This is the most current equipment of atomic absorption of Agilent make. It's made by Agilent.
Vitamins and Additives Lab. This is where vitamins such as fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins analysis are carried out on vitamin-fortified food samples.
This laboratory is equipped with ultra-modern instruments like the HPLC high-performance liquid chromatography instrument. This is Hitachi make, while this one is the Agilent make, Agilent HPLC.
The water labs, where water product samples are analyzed for the purpose of registration and compliance to ensure that water made available for consumption is safe to drink.
Agulu lab is very big. It is used for testing medical devices, for food, and for drugs. So it's also multi-purpose lab.
We are into analyzing qualitatively and quantitatively the regulatory products that Nafdac regulates. These products include food, drugs, cosmetics, water, medical devices, pesticide formulation, and pesticide residue. And we analyze them using different sophisticated equipment. We have HPLC, we have gas chromatography, we have UV, we have autoclave, we have all these sophisticated equipment, and we use them to analyze and to certify whether a product brought for registration or compliance in Nafdac is safe for consumption of the populace or not safe. So that is basically what you do in this particular laboratory.
The Agulu lab is accredited with ISO 17025-2015 in 16 scopes for drug analysis. This scope include dissolution testing, disintegration testing, hardness testing, friability testing, sterility testing, and purity testing. The laboratory is well equipped with some of the finest gadgets which have been accredited, and this allows analysts to do their work more efficiently. Some of these accredited gadgets include the Agilent High Performance Liquid Chromatography, Lachrome High Performance Liquid Chromatography, Ultraviolet Visible Spectrometers, Carl Fisher gadgets, safety cabinets, polarimeters, melting point apparatus, and so on. Other equipment used in this laboratory for sample analysis include the Jindal apparatus, the sterile rope, and gas chromatography AAS for analyzing elemental ions in compounds. The Nafdac Zonal Laboratory, Agulu, is well trusted both in Nigeria and internationally because of its prestigious reputation of generating timely and accurate test results on drug samples. The Agulu lab consists of the Microbiology Laboratory, the Pesticide Formulation Laboratory, the HPLC Laboratory, the Herbal Laboratory, the Pharmaceutical Control Laboratory, the Pharmaceutical Chemistry Laboratory, the Cosmetics Laboratory, the Pharmacology Laboratory, the Food Registration Laboratory, the Water Laboratory, and the Medical Device Laboratory.
This is Medical Devices Lab, where different types of medical devices are being analyzed. These include hand gloves, condoms, diapers, syringes, infusions, and different other types of medical devices. What we use, the leakage tester, we have the condom inflation tester. Generally, this place, medical devices products are worked on. We have 16 scopes that are accredited, and these 60 scopes basically are on drugs. That shows that whatever result we issue out from here is internationally recognized and accepted.
Serving the north of Nigeria, The Kaduna Laboratory is strategically located to ensure the agency efficiently fulfills its mandate.
The Kaduna Lab is the one that has the most recent accreditation standards. From 2015, now they use 2017 17025. So we are really up there in terms of making sure that our labs are of international standards.
Scopes accredited then are HPLC, dissolution, pH, we have CalFisher, we have UDU and UV for drug testing, tablet disintegration, hardness, UV titration, and friability testing were added to the scope. So the chemistry lab have 11 scopes in total that are fully accredited, and we analyze them using the current monographs, that is USP 2017, BP 2017, we have the IP 2018. These are the reference material we use for analyzing all our samples under this category. ANAB is an international accrediting body which have certified and have renewed our accreditation based on our competence. So our standard can be compared with any other laboratory in the world as we stand now.
This is microbiology units of the Kaduna Laboratory Services Directorate, where analysis of drug, microbiological analysis of drug is carried out. In this unit, we have 3 specialized units. We have the sterility unit, we have the microbial limit test units, and then we have the bacteria endotoxin units. These 3 units has been fully accredited.
This is the chemistry unit. Here is our water purification unit. We have the helix and the molecule. This water purification unit is one of the best quality of water you can find in any laboratory across the world. They are of very high quality, and it can be used for all the requirements of the laboratory, both for our reagent preparation, sample preparation, and even the ones that are used in our equipments. This is Carbolite oven. It's one of our accredited scopes, and we have run a proficiency testing on this scope severally, and we have passed the proficiency testing. Here we have all these equipments here are under the accreditation, the scopes I've mentioned. This is our instrument room, where we keep most of our equipments that are used for assaying pharmaceutical API. Here we have 4 sets of HPLCs, which are functioning. The last one was just acquired recently by the management of Nafdac, which is a very powerful instrument. It's the latest model of Agilent. And we have the Dionex, we have the Lacromes, they are all in use. About 60 to 70% of our requirement for pharmaceutical analysis are used by HPLC, which is a requirement from the official monograph that I mentioned earlier. We have the analysts that are competent and they are trained, and they are doing their best to analyze the product. This is LCMS Chumazu, and it's a new equipment, and we are doing a lot with it in the laboratory at the moment. This is our GC-MS Chumazu brand. This is GC-MS. So we have sufficient number of equipment that can handle the volumes of samples that can come in here for our residue tests in pesticide and in other things that we can analyze.
Where we are going as an organization is to we are benchmarking our activities to make sure that we have international standards, we have international best practices or global best practices. So we are comparing ourselves with the best in the world.
Despite all of these giant strides, the agency is not resting on its oars as it continues to strive towards achieving the highest level of global benchmark and become a renowned regulatory agency internationally.